Urbanization occurred there around 2600 BCE, making it roughly contemporary with the construction of the step pyramid of Saqqara in the reign of King Djoser of Egypt. But no, Praveen takes us to a site in North Central.
There is an even older pyramid located in India.
ये देखिए, बहनें गरबा कर रही हैं। लगता है जैसे बहुत सी देवियां एक देवी की उपासना कर रही हों। ये त्योहार, इसमें खुशबू है भक्ति की, शक्ति की, मस्ती की, खुशबू है गुजरात की। यहाँ त्योहार का मजा है हर दिन हर रात में। अरे कुछ दिन तो गुजारे गुजरात में। गुजरात, यहाँ ईश्वर उंगलियों में भी बसते हैं। यहाँ की कला बसती है छोटे छोटे गांवों में, परिवारों में के हाथ में। यहाँ की सुसुसात यही है। आइए सीखिए सुई से भी तेज आंखों और आगे से भी बनी उंगलियों से की हुई है ये शानदार ब्लॉक प्रिंटिंग। बांधनी का ये लहंगा जिसे दुल्हन बनी बेटियों को सजाने के लिए बनाया गया है, क्या इसीलिए ये इतना प्यारा है? पाटन की इस पटोला सिल्क साड़ी को बनाने में 7 महीने लगे, या यूं कहिए कि 700 साल। यहाँ खुशबू है गुजरात की। भाई साहब, बेटी की शादी का लहंगा ले जाइए सौगात में। अरे कुछ दिन तो गुजारिए गुजरात में।
There is such a pyramid a few centuries older than the Saqqara pyramid in Egypt, located in the town of Bareilly in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Let's go take a look and see what this place has to offer. As you can see, guys, I'm in the middle of nowhere, right? But there is that giant pyramid.
These are the ruins of ancient Ahikshatra. What I found out is that archaeological work was done here in the 1860s, then again in the 1940s, and in recent years by a collaborative effort between the Archaeological Survey of India and the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. Dr. Bhuwan Vikrama, the superintending archaeologist, has written about the work done there. I will leave a link to one of his articles below for you. Archaeological evidence indicates that this area was settled during the time that the cities of the Indus Valley civilization were starting to go into decline. The first people that lived here were the ones who made the type of pottery that archaeologists call ochre-colored pottery, dating to around 2000 to 1500 BCE. So somewhere in that 500-year span, Ahikshatra was founded. The problem is, if this place was first settled at the earliest, in 2000 BCE, even if the people built the pyramid as soon as they got here, that still would put it around 600 years after the construction of Djoser's step pyramid at Saqqara.
There is that giant pyramid that was built before the Saqqara pyramid in Egypt, okay?
In most of the video, he only suggests that it could be so, but here he is definite, saying, there is that giant pyramid that was built before the Saqqara pyramid in Egypt. Now you might be asking yourself, how does he know? What evidence does he have that would overturn the physical evidence the archaeologists found here? We'll find out shortly.
So you guys can see the height of each level of the stepped pyramid. And it's at least 10 feet tall. And there are at least 5 or 6 levels, guys. There are at least 5 or 6 levels. Actually, I hope you can see all the various levels of this pyramid. But I think that there are more levels hidden. Okay? For example, look here. So you can see that more levels are hidden there.
Archaeologists refer to this structure as Temple 1. There's another major structure here which is called, as you might guess, Temple 2. Both temples were created by constructing boxes of baked bricks, filling them with dirt, and sealing them with 2 or 3 courses of flat bricks. This one, Temple 1, is 75 feet high, and there are 5 concentric platforms. It originally had only 3 platforms, but the original building was expanded at some point. A staircase goes up it on the western side, and what Praveen is pointing to are remnants of that stairway, which approached the building from below. It also was a later addition.
See, this is a giant rock. It's a giant monolithic rock. Like, look at the height of that, right? So I'm maybe 5 3/4, and then probably 8 feet tall. And this is why they call this place Beam Gada or Beam Ki Gada, because they think that this used to be the club or mace of a giant called Beam.
Archaeologists believe there was even more here on the top than that. Comparative study with a similar temple at Bitagaon have suggested that there was a large sanctum on the summit.
Can you tell what this is? This is a giant lingam. This was probably at least 12 to 20 feet tall lingam that's placed on top of the pyramid. Okay? I'm not making this up because there are ancient texts which clearly give how a lingam should be designed. And this 4-sided base, 8-sided middle part, and the top cylinder is clearly described in ancient texts. So we know that this is a lingam. And archaeologists also confirm that this is in fact a giant monolithic lingam.
For those who don't know, a lingam is a symbol of the god Shiva that evokes the male sex organ. A yoni is a symbol of the goddess Shakti that evokes the female sex organ. But they're not associated with fertility rites, but rather with cosmic principles, the generative power of the universe, or the male and female aspects of the universe. They are often represented together and found on temples dedicated to Shiva.
Okay, so this is what the locals say. Shortly after the time of Krishna, a group of Nagas came down here and started to build the very first pyramid in the world. This is why this place was originally called Ahi Kshetra. The word Ahi means Naga, and the word Kshetra means place or sometimes even temple in the ancient language of Sanskrit.
So here he begins to provide his evidence for the age of the pyramid. It comes from local legend. I'm sure you realize that means we're talking about an oral tradition that has spanned centuries, or if the locals are correct, millennia. No one can even say what the origin of this oral tradition is. Someone in the past said it, and people started repeating it. Mind you, I think it's always worth exploring oral stories, but in this case, they're telling us that Nagas built the pyramid, and Nagas are mythical creatures, semi-divine beings that are half human, half cobra. But maybe the legend preserves a historical kernel of truth in it, such as the part about the pyramid being built shortly after the time of Krishna. When was that? Well, that would be the time of a legendary conflict known as the Kurukshetra War. Unfortunately, there's considerable disagreement as to when the war may have occurred. Suggested dates have ranged between 5500 and 950 BCE. Because the great Indian epic, the Mahabharata, which recounts the story of the Kurukshetra War, mentions Ahikshatra, it seems to me that this is the basis of the local legend. They know their settlement is mentioned in the poem, and it would be perfectly normal for them to then assume the pyramid was built sometime after that. But it's all very vague on the timing. How long exactly after the war do they think it was built? Instead of relying on a story that has been passed down orally for many generations, which is subject to change, embellishment, and distortion, it seems we're on more solid ground when we rely on the evidence from the site itself.
Now, this is what's really, really interesting about this pyramid, because it's very, very similar to the oldest, or the so-called quote-unquote oldest pyramid in the world, which is considered Saqqara pyramid in Egypt, because you can see the Nagas carved all over the walls in the complex of the Saqqara pyramid, indicating that the people who built this pyramid must have migrated and built the Saqqara pyramid in Egypt.
Are these two pyramids really all that similar? They look quite different to me, but maybe I'm missing something. Seriously, please let me know what you think in the comments below. They're also built with different materials and with different methods. Now what about the Nagas? Even though there are cobras at the Djoser Pyramid complex, there are none at the Ahikshatra Pyramid. There's the lingam representing Shiva. Images of the river goddesses Ganga and Yamuna were found at the entrance to the third terrace stairway, but no Nagas. While it's certainly true that both India and Egypt have cobra gods, just that fact alone cannot establish that one country got the idea of a cobra god from another country. That's because many countries turn animals into gods, and because we have no other evidence of people from India migrating to Egypt prior to dynastic times.
Now you can see how this place could be the origin of all the pyramids around the world. Because we know that Mayas have pyramids, Aztec built pyramids, Egyptians obviously built pyramids, Cambodian built pyramids, but it's quite possible that India was the mother of all these pyramids.
As you may already know, pyramid is a very broad category of building. It's any structure that's largest at the bottom and whose outer surface converges to a smaller point at the top. It can be smoothed, it can be stepped, it can be irregular in shape. It's a very basic, generic design, easy to devise by any human being at any time in history. As Praveen refers to, are all built in very different styles and with different materials. To suggest that two step pyramids could not have been thought of by two different societies far removed from each other is not all that different from suggesting that two flights of stairs could not have been thought of by two different societies far removed from each other.
Whenever you see pyramid, you are supposed to see a square base with a unique spout called a yoni. But where's the yoni here? Why is it missing? Now, initially, I had assumed that people have broken the yoni and they've thrown it somewhere, and that's quite possible. But I've seen images from the remote sensing department of India, and it's very interesting because the entire pyramid has a unique spout-shaped structure at one end, indicating that could be a giant yoni. And not only that, believe it or not, that same structure, that same yoni-like structure also exists in Saqqara.
It's interesting that Praveen is making two incredible claims in this video. Not only that this pyramid is older than the Saqqara pyramid, but also that this pyramid was the inspiration for the Saqqara pyramid. We've already seen that they do not have similar blueprints, and that the Saqqara pyramid was not connected to snake worship in any way. But what about his claim that the yoni-like structure existed at Saqqara? Well, here's the structure he's talking about, which is attached to the Saqqara pyramid. It's the funerary temple. It was a building. Praveen is just showing you the outline of its shape as seen from above, basically a rectangle. Here is a reconstruction of it. And here are some examples of yonis. How strong do you think the resemblance is?
This entire area is said to be a part of the ancient Panchala kingdom, which existed at the time of Krishna during the period of Mahabharata, around 3100 BC. This region originally belonged to the ancestors of Panchali, the wife of Arjuna and his brothers, and also his great-great-grandfather. So this place was originally a part of the Panchala kingdom.
So Praveen puts the date of the Kurukshetra War, the time of Krishna, at around 3100 BCE. Let's say he's right, and the Kurukshetra War occurred at that time, before the earliest evidence of urbanization in all of South Asia. Remember, archaeology indicates the Indus Valley civilization urbanized around 2600 BCE. The Mahabharata does indeed say that this place, Ahikshatra, existed at the time of the war, but it doesn't say anything about the pyramid. So the Mahabharata offers zero evidence for the date of the pyramid. This place was inhabited all the way until the 10th century of the Common Era, thousands of years. During the life of a settlement, buildings go up, buildings come down. The pyramid could have been built at any time during the life of the settlement. You see that circular structure at the base of the pyramid? When archaeologists excavated here in the 1940s, they found that. It's the remnants of an earlier building, which the pyramid was later built on top of. Its existence confirms that the pyramid was not built right away. Another building had a life here before the pyramid did. And the style of the earlier building and the potsherds found within it have indicated that it was built during the Kushan period, between the 1st and 4th centuries CE. The pyramid, therefore, had to have been constructed after that. The archaeologists have noted a gradual development of the art and architecture of the city. Based on the known evolution of temple architectural and artistic styles and comparison with other ancient structures, the archaeologists have dated the pyramid to the Gupta period. Bhuvan Vikrama dates it specifically to the reign of the great emperor Samudragupta, who reigned in the 4th century CE. So, I'm sure this comes as no surprise to you. This is not the world's oldest pyramid. Not even close. Anyway, ground-penetrating radar has revealed that there's more to be found beneath the earth. So there will likely be more discovery at this fascinating site, which will shed more light on the development of urbanism in the area. I look forward to that.
Dwarika of Gujarat is the place where 5,000 years ago, after leaving Mathura, Lord Krishna had populated the city called Dwarika. This place not only carries religious importance but also has mystery related to it. It is said that this city inhabited by Lord Krishna had submerged into the sea along with his demise. Historians all over the world believe that there was no big city ever in existence before Christ, but the discovery of Dwarika made the historians think again. As per carbon dating method, the story of Dwarika found in the excavation traces 9,000 years back, which had submerged into the sea 5,000 years ago. This city was associated with the ancient civilization that evolved in India when rest of the world was not able to differentiate between food and feces. The city found under the sea proves that the first ever developed civilization evolved in India only, and of the ice age transformed the world into a new form where we live today. As the ice melted, the sea level rose by up to 400 feet. This terrible flood begot all new shores of the world, and the old shores submerged into the sea. Many of the mysteries of the world got buried into the sea forever. Some of these mysteries were related to Pauranic Kal, the mythical era. The stories of the mythical times are considered to be only mythological, but a few evidences found under the sea prove these mythological tales to be true to a great extent. The research carried out in India challenges all the statistics of the archaeological science, and this demands the need to re-indict the history of ancient civilizations. These proofs, to a great extent, relate to the Dwarika city that had drowned into the sea thousands of years ago. Evidences of two ancient cities spread over area as much as 60 km were found in the sea. The scrutiny of the artifacts revealed that it was older than any other civilization of the world. So, do these proofs really belong to the city of Dwarika, which is thousands of years old? Come on, let's verify. The Dwarika of Lord Krishna, referred to in the scripture Mahabharata, was found in the deep sea near Gujarat. Till the decade of 1980, the Indians did not know that the Dwarika where they visit for the darshan of their deity is not the real Dwarika, but it was a different place. In the decade of 1980, under the guidance of the GSI, the Indian government decided to conduct a research in the sea. During this research, the first ever glimpses of the submerged Dwarika obtained through radar image from the Gulf of Khambat were seen. The location of this spot in the sea was traced by the National Institute of Ocean Technology. While using the sonar technology, they were studying the pollution in the sea. They came to know that well-arranged geometrical patterns were in existence at the place found in the sea. This spot is 30 feet deep and 20 km away from the shore and spread over a large area underwater. whole of a city is in existence at this place, which includes houses, water bodies, lanes and drains. The study of this place tells us that this city existed before the Mohenjo-daro civilization. Murli Manohar Joshi, who had been Human Resources Development Minister in 2001, pronounced that evidences have been found in the Gulf of Khambat near the seashore of Gujarat that an ancient civilization was in existence and which is considered to be the mythological Dwarika city founded by Lord Krishna. The sonar system images captured through survey conducted between 1919 and 2001 revealed that a number of square and rectangular shaped structures have been found which existed in a systematic manner. This finding in the sea was beyond the imagination of the scientists. They say that these figures seen in the sea cannot be built naturally. They believed them to be man-made. As the research proceeded further, it revealed that in the Gulf of Khambat, at the depth of 20 feet down the sea, there lie many more mysteries which are yet to come to the fore. After the completion of the investigation, many artifacts were found including pieces of wood, earthen pots, tools made of stones and teeth. Later these artifacts were sent to many national as well as international renowned institutions where the carbon dating method pointed out that many of them were as old as 9,500 years. This astonishing discovery took the archaeological world aback because these evidences were thousands of years older than any other ancient civilization. Divers of naval force excavated the area of 40,000 square meters and gathered the samples of the remains of the buildings. The archaeological experts told that these are the ruins of a huge and prosperous city. In Dwarika, excavation task was undertaken not only under the sea but also on the ground, as deep as 10 kilometers down. This excavation helped find coins and many artifacts. Diving deep into the seawater, the team captured photographs of the drowned city and carried out a detailed study. After this only, the city of Dwarika could attain its due glory, and the historians all over the world, as well as people in India, believed this to be a unique discovery. There was a time when people used to say that the city of Dwarika is fictional. But this discovery did prove that there was such a city in existence 9,000 years ago. Dr. S.R. Rao in his book The Lost City of Dwarika wrote that clues of existence of mythological city of Dwarika has been found. It is told in the book that the few coastal areas of Gujarat in India has drowned thousands of years ago. So friends, it is evident from the study that there exists a city like Dwarika, but because it is drowned in the sea, no one knows the reason why this city submerged into the seas. It is said in the Purana that after a few years of the Battle of Mahabharata, the city of Dwarika had drowned, whereas some people believe that 9,000 years ago the seawater level increased due to end of the ice age, because of which this city emerged into the seas. But the question arises that the ice age called Himyug ended 10,000 years ago, while Krishna's Dwarka had been built 9,500 years ago. So this theory of drowning seems to be a half-truth. Friends, although it is not known as to how the city of Dwarika drowned, but the evidences prove that a huge city like Dwarika did exist in India, while the other countries were still busy arranging basic needs. Many mysteries of Dwarika are still buried in the sea, waiting to be disclosed in front of the people. It is quite possible that we would get to know the entire mystery of the drowned Dwarika city in the coming future. The discovery of this ancient city of India establishes the fact that India has always been ahead in terms of evolution of civilization.
दोस्तों, हम मिस्र के पिरामिड के बारे में जानते हैं, पर कितने लोग प्राचीन भारत के पिरामिड के बारे में जानते हैं? यहाँ बरेली के उत्खनन से एक विशाल पिरामिड के रूप में प्राचीन मंदिर का पता चला है। इसके अलावा खंडहर 22 मीटर ऊंचाई का है और शीर्ष पर एक लिंग है। और क्षेत्रफल 187 हेक्टेयर है। दोस्तों, आज हम आपको इतिहास के रहस्यमय पिरामिड के विषय में बताएंगे जो आपको विश्व कभी नहीं जानने देगा। इसका संबंध महाभारत काल से है। 4000 साल पुराना पिरामिड के विषय में आज हम बात करेंगे। अंत तक वीडियो को जरूर देखिएगा। तो चलिए वीडियो को शुरू करते हैं। दोस्तों, हम सभी प्राचीन मिस्र के पिरामिड के बारे में जानते हैं, लेकिन हम में से कितने लोगों को यह पता होगा कि प्राचीन भारत में भी 4000 साल पूर्व इस प्रकार के मंदिर थे जो पिरामिड जैसे विशाल और भव्य थे। आपको जानकर हैरानी होगा कि बरेली पूर्व क्षेत्र के रूप में जाना जाता था। महाभारत काल में राजा द्रुपद के राज्य में पांचाल को राजधानी के रूप में उल्लेख किया गया था। अर्जुन ने इस राज्य पर आक्रमण कर यह राज्य आचार्य द्रोण को सौंपा था। राजा द्रुपद हार के बाद पांचाल को काम्पिल्य में शिफ्ट किए थे। बरेली की खुदाई ने बड़े पिरामिड के रूप में एक विशाल प्राचीन मंदिर को खोज निकाला है। यह मंदिर ध्वस्त अवस्था में भी अपनी विशालता को बयां कर रहा है। आज इसकी दीवारों की ऊंचाई 22 मीटर है। कल्पना कीजिए उस समय यह कितना भव्य मंदिर रहा होगा। यह इलाका 187 हेक्टेयर में फैला हुआ है, जो उस समय के दौरान यूनान और मिस्र में भी इतना अधिक विस्तार निर्माण कार्य नहीं था। सबसे अधिक निर्माण कार्य 143 हेक्टेयर इलाके में देखा गया है। यह भारत का सर्वाधिक प्राचीन मंदिर का भग्नावशेष है, जो 4000 साल प्राचीन का है। इसके दीवारों पर लाल रंग के चित्रित बर्तनों से अलंकरण किया गया था। कई हिंदू देवी देवताओं की मूर्तियां यहाँ पर मिली हैं और कई ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण मूर्तियों को आज भी विदेशी संग्रहालय में देखा जा सकता है। मकर पर खड़ी गंगा की मूर्ति भी है। दूसरी तरफ भगवान शिव का कीर्ति रुंजय दृश्य का चित्रण भी किया गया है। दोस्तों, कमेंट सेक्शन में जाकर जरूर बताएं कि आपको ये वीडियो कैसा लगा, और इस तरह की वीडियो को शेयर करना हम सबकी जिम्मेदारी है। वीडियो को जरूर शेयर करें।
ये त्योहार, इसमें खुशबू है भक्ति की, शक्ति की, मस्ती की, खुशबू है गुजरात की। यहाँ त्योहार का मजा है हर दिन हर रात में। अरे कुछ दिन तो गुजारे गुजरात में। गुजरात, यहाँ ईश्वर उंगलियों में भी बसते हैं। यहाँ की कला बसती है छोटे छोटे गांवों में, परिवारों के हाथ में। यहाँ की सुसुसात ये नहीं है। आइए सीखिए सुई से भी तेज आंखों और आगे से भी महीन उंगलियों से की गई एम्ब्रॉयडरी। ये शानदार वर्क प्रिंटिंग। आंगनी का ये लहंगा जिसे दुल्हन बनी बेटियों को सजाने के लिए बनाया गया है, क्या इसीलिए ये इतना प्यारा है? पाटन की इस पटोला सिल्क साड़ी को बनाने में 7 महीने लगे, या यूं कहिए कि 700 साल। यहाँ खुशबू है गुजरात की। भाई साहब, बेटी की शादी का लहंगा ले जाइए सौगात में। अरे कुछ दिन तो गुजारिए गुजरात में।
Hey guys, do you know what is the oldest pyramid in the world? Archaeologists will say it is the Djoser or Saqqara pyramid, built about 4,600 years ago. But what if I told you there is an even older pyramid located in India? There is such a pyramid a few centuries older than the Saqqara pyramid in Egypt, located in the town of Bareilly in the state of Uttar Pradesh. Let's go take a look and see what this place has to offer. As you can see, guys, I'm in the middle of nowhere, right? But there is that giant pyramid that was built before the Saqqara pyramid in Egypt, okay? Let's take a look at this. So you guys can see the height of each level of the stepped pyramid, and it's at least 10 feet tall, and there are at least 5 or 6 levels, guys. There are at least 5 or 6 levels. Actually, I hope you can see all the various levels of this pyramid, but I think that there are more levels hidden, okay? For example, look here. So you can see that more levels are hidden there. Locals call this Beam Gada or Beam Ki Gada, which means a blunt mace, or the club, which is a weapon of a giant called Bhima. Why do they call this by that name? Well, there's a surprise waiting for us at the top. So let's go to the top and see what's there. So guys, you can see this is the surprise that's waiting for us in the top of the pyramid. See, this is a giant rock. It's a giant monolithic rock. Like, look at the height of that, right? So I'm maybe like, 5 3/4, and then probably 8 feet tall. And this is why they call this place Beam Gada or Beam Ki Gada, because they think that this used to be the club or mace of a giant called Beam. But look at the shape of this. If you look at the shape of this, on top it's obviously broken. This is actually a cylinder. That top is a cylinder that should have gone really high, like really way up top. The original height must have been more than 12 feet, maybe a lot more than that. And then look at this side, right? So this is 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is an octagon on this side. So this has 8 sides. And you can see that the bottom, there are 4 sides. And this is kind of a cube with 4 sides. And on top, this is an octagon with 8 sides. And on top of that, this is a cylinder. Can you tell what this is? This is a giant lingam. This was probably at least 12 to 20 feet tall lingam that's placed on top of the pyramid. Okay? I'm not making this up, because there are ancient texts which clearly give how a lingam should be designed. And this 4-sided base, 8-sided middle part, and the top cylinder is clearly described in ancient texts. So we know that this is a lingam. And archaeologists also confirm that this is in fact a giant monolithic lingam. Now, why is this lingam placed on top of the pyramid? and what is the history behind this?
thinking, oh, maybe he's talking about one of the buildings from Harappa or Mohenjo-Daro, cities of the Indus Valley civilization, the oldest known urban society.